Elvis, I mean, he's a public officer, yes, but he's gifting someone money. We do not know the reasoning behind that money, why he's giving it to who he is giving it to. But too many people calling for his head. Is this tenable?
Good morning. The point is, as a country, I think if you read the page 5 of the news center today, there's an article there that if we have, like, as a country, if we pay attention to what you call honor code, if people really want to really observe those things, Mahama will not need even a code
of conduct for public officers.
That's what the article says. Let me if we have an honor culture, Mahama wouldn't need appointees code. See, honor code, when we live by certain principles as a people, it helps us to deal with certain things. But in this country, it appears we don't really care much about those things. And because honor and code or honor culture and ethics are not like legally binding issues, they are like self-regulatory issues in most circumstances. It's as if the person involved will need to make a decision. It becomes an issue today because, first of all, we've seen how the NDC reacted when there was a report of monies found under Cecilia Dapa's bed. And the question was, why will a public official have money under his bed? What's the bank doing? And it was one of the major campaign issues in this country. If you do that, today, if you also do this, people will complain. You understand it? And when a code of ethics has been launched, conduct by the president has been launched, and one of the issues captured in it is about appointees showing opulence. And this happened. Obviously, people will take issues with it. But I see, these things Gyamfi has done is nothing new to a politician in Ghana.
Right.
A normal politician in Ghana goes around sharing money for people every now and then. And if you monitor social media, you see a lot of NDC guys saying, this is nothing new to them because Sammy Gyamfi is a generous guy. He does it all the time. You understand it? That's the argument a lot of NDC communicators are putting up on social media. That is nothing new. Do you know how much money Sammy gives shares to people? This is no money. You understand? So we have taken certain things as normal. That if a politician comes around, he should be able to give us money. So for us, it's a normal thing in this country that politicians will give us money. So for Sammy Gyamfi to fall for this, it's not like anybody said it, but for him, you see, when you do something for a long time, it becomes like part and parcel of it. So when you are doing it, you really don't see anything wrong with it. You understand? But the moment you become a public official, see, the way people look at things you have done is different from how you behave when you are a private individual. So until he was appointed gold board,
acting CEO.
Like this issue will not be an issue. If he was still a communication officer of the NDC and goes around and gives this money, who is interested? Because it's not in public office. But when you're in public office, you have a certain way of conduct. And then see, the interest also is because people will have to ask the question, what is the source of the money? What's the source of the money? Because when you're in a public office and you are spending money, we have to be very careful. Okay? There are so many instances around the world when people start in public office, including this country, and misuse public money. And it's only found after the money had been used, after the money had been spent. So when somebody who is a public official is engaged in something like that, first question will be, what even is the source of the money? And if this is just one incident, how many areas has he gone to and shared money? You understand it? And if the money is really his own, who knows? Where the money is from public purse, who will know? And because we don't have unexplained wealth law in this country, and the Ghana Revenue Authority power that they have to be able on their own audit any Ghanaian, whether private or public official, about what you own, we are also not doing it. So then the public is concerned that since these things are not being done, it means that people can have access to all kinds of money, including public money, and spend it anyhow. So I think that Sammy Gyamfi issue is an issue simply because, first of all, he's now a public official.
Yeah.
2, because they used things like this against the previous government, which is one of the reasons why one of the things they did in their 120 days was to launch a code of conduct. And if the code of conduct is against opulence, and you do this, obviously people will say President Mahama should sack him. And that is why people are saying that if you want to look at the code of conduct critically and the things that are said there, that means that he has to be sacked. And that is the issue. But see, most of the times, this is why we put presidents in tight corner.
Exactly.
Okay, see, because if you have an honor culture, you don't wait for the president to sack you, you sack yourself.
Resign. Yeah.
Just this last week, the national security advisor for Sweden resigned. Why? His pictures were found on a dating site. Not that his naked picture or anything. The mere fact his picture. It's mere that his picture was found on a dating site. You as a national security advisor, what is your picture doing on a dating site? He didn't work for the president to sack him. The very moment he came public that his picture was on a dating site, he knew that he is responsible. He quickly resigned. There are people in other countries that resigned not because of what they did happen when they were in office. Things that they did that happened many years before they became public officials came up and they resigned. I remember the minister in Germany has to resign because he had received a gift about 15 years earlier before becoming a public official. And when he became a public, the issue of that gift came up. And once it became a public issue, he had to resign. So you see, the way things are done other places, it doesn't make things difficult for the president. But in this country, when these issues come up, appointees will still want to remain in office until the president sacks them.
He has apologized publicly. The president's hand is tied.
Apology will not end it. Apology will not end anything. It is a political issue. As I said, NDC did these things to the previous government.
He himself actually did it.
Exactly.
Went ahead to explain money laundering according to the law.
Hitting him, they are not hitting him because they think that Sammy Gyamfi cannot afford $20,000 or $10,000 or whatever amount involved. They are doing it because they say if you are a man of principle, you were attacking others for similar things. So then why should you be allowed to stay in office? So it's a typical political game we are seeing, and it's also because the NDC, in an attempt to prove that they are better than the NPP, launch a code of conduct that should guide people. And so if you launch a code of conduct and one of the issues is opulence, if you read the foreword, the kind of things that were said there, and the public now says, okay, what has happened? We believe that it's breached the code of conduct, the person should be sacked. The apology cannot save you. The only thing can save you is if the president decides that he won't sack you. But you see, this is where the president is going to be in a tight corner. This is his first test after launching the code of conduct. So if the president also fails to sack Sammy Gyamfi, the question is, if subsequent appointees also breach the code, will the president have the honor to sack those people? So once the president fails to sack Sammy Gyamfi, it means that he has set a precedent that if others also should breach the code, he should not sack them. If he sacks others for breaching the code, then there's going to be internal implosion within the party to say that it's because Sammy Gyamfi is your favorite, you didn't sack him, but others who are not your favorite, you are sacking them. So right now, the president is in a fix. He either sacks Sammy Gyamfi to make sure that any other person that breaches the code will also be sacked. Or if he says he accepts apology and maintains him, it means that any other person that falters in the future should also offer an apology, and that should suffice.
Let me read his apology, and then I'll come back to you on how much pressure, real pressure there is on the president at this point. Sammy Gyamfi posted this apology online on social media, and he reads, "Folks, I have taken notice of the wave of criticisms against my person in the last 24 hours. To clarify, this was simply a kind gesture to a fellow human being, in line with my daily and lifelong custom of lending a helping hand to people in need." Lending a helping hand to people in need. Underlined. "I sincerely thought I was doing this act of kindness in private and never imagined that same could find its way into the public space. But the money was given in public. That is unfortunate and regrettable. I must say that I understand the uproar that this gesture has generated, particularly from comrades who are sincerely hurt by same. To all such comrades, I am sincerely sorry for this unfortunate act of indiscretion. I respect and appreciate your views. My profound appreciation goes to all those who have reached out to counsel and encourage me. I am most grateful for your solidarity. Let me state, however, that my view of public office as a privilege to serve society, solve problems, and help others has not changed. I remain focused on the task entrusted to me by His Excellency the President for the development of our country. Stay blessed and have a blissful Sunday. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. This is Sammy Gyamfi. Now, let's look at the content of his apology. I'm asking about pressure on the president because prior to the launch of his code of conduct that same day, he chastised some of his appointees for having failed to declare their assets by the deadline he had given. There were sanctions, some 3 months or 4 months salary forfeiture. Then there was a new deadline for that. So already people are going against his directives, one regarding the declaration of assets. And now, after launching the code of conduct, this has happened. In that code of conduct, there is a restriction on opulence. Now this has happened. So how much of a pressure does this put on John Mahama to act?
Also, the pressure to come from all kinds of angles, including within the party. Because, as I said, they themselves know that this is one of the things they used against the previous government.
Yeah.
And they say, the NDC needs to, as a politician says, sometimes I smile and I laugh. The NPP is mourning its loss. And one of the things in their report was what?
Arrogance.
Arrogance of power. Arrogance of power. What they are facing now is an issue of arrogance of power. So if Mahama fails to sack him, the people who believe in arrogance, so this is an arrogance of power. Because you launch a code, the person breaks the code, public says remove the person, you refuse. So it means that you are now being arrogant to us. So the NDC should know that the government already risked being accused of arrogance of power if they fail to sack Sammy Gyamfi.
Right.
Because he himself has admitted that even within the NDC, within the NDC, there's an uproar over what he has done. And then he himself admits that it's a lack of proper exercise of discretion. But he's not willing to resign. If you have admitted that you believe that with the benefit of hindsight, because there is uproar, because there is uproar, you now realize that you have not exercised that discretion well, and you are not willing to resign. It's an arrogance of power. You see? So the NDC should know that they face arrogance of power if Gyamfi is not removed. So if he really wants to save the NDC from arrogance of power, then he himself should know that he has to leave. If he doesn't leave, he puts the pressure on President Mahama. And if President Mahama look at, oh, my darling boy, so I won't sack him, it means that you have already put NDC on the footing to say that, oh no, this is arrogance of power. Mahama launched the code. He himself admitted that he didn't really do the right thing if he looks at the public uproar, yet he has not been sacked. So you see, in our part of the world, okay, when you are talking about code and the rest, sometimes you have to be very careful. Because you see, we have a culture that says that you don't reject a gift. Okay? We have a culture that says that gifts are acceptable. In the cultures where we want to adopt this code from, they tell you that they believe that behind every gift is a hidden agenda, and that no gift is free.
Right.
So the way they perceive gift in the Western world is different from how we perceive gift in our part of the world. And so if our culture endorses certain things, and we want to launch code, and the code are actually kicking against those cultures and the rest, we are likely to fall victims to it. So based on what he himself has said against others in the past, okay, based on what the statement Sammy Gyamfi himself has said against others in the past, based on similar happenings, what the party itself did with it in campaign, and to prove that they are better than the previous government, the party went ahead, the government went ahead to launch a code of conduct to say that for them, their appointees are going to behave well, not like what the previous government appointees have done. And you look at all these issues, and then now you are faced with this issue, you either sack the gentleman First of all, the gentleman must resign to give the president that shame.
Yeah.
But if he feels that he now push the pressure to the president, if the president also refuses to sack him, it becomes an issue of arrogance of power. You launch a code, the person breaks the code, and the person admits that yes, with the benefit of hindsight, he realized that he didn't exercise that discretion very well, and then you fail to sack him. Then the accusation, what the NPP is crying about today, that is one of the reasons they lost the election, which is arrogance of power, is coming to hit you, the NDC. And so I believe that for me, what we are talking about, the president himself knows that he's under extreme pressure because nobody forced him to launch a code. He wants to tell Ghanaians that he wants to govern differently.
Exactly.
That's why he launched the code. So if somebody breaches the code and you, the president, will not take action, we must understand that it has potential. See, and the code, the president wants to implement the code. I don't know, but maybe I have to find legal arguments as to whether that is the right thing to do. President wants to implement the code the way he wants it, not the way it is stated. Because if you look at the asset declaration, he had already said that whoever did not declare the asset, he was going to sack them.
Yeah.
So when the list came out, the 10 others, Domalebo said that the president should sack everybody that did not declare. What the president is, oh no, I'm not sacking them. I'm taking 3 months of their salary and giving them a new deadline to declare.
Yeah.
So it means that you yourself, the code you have launched, you are not ready to apply it strictly.
Exactly.
So I will not be surprised that you come and hear that, oh, Sammy Gyamfi's 3 months salary has been withheld and it should go to the Ghana medical something for as punishment for what he has done. That is not what the code has said. You understand? And that's not how codes are implemented in other places that we know. Because if that's what you have to say, then you should have said that. You should have been clearly stated in the code that if the person is a first-time offender,
then
the person will not be sacked, will forfeit the salary or this and that. But if you leave it open and they say opulence will not be entertained in government, if somebody has engaged in opulence and the person does not get sacked, and they will get some excuses and they come and tell you, oh, the person's salary is supposed to go somewhere.
Thank you.
It's going to create a deficit of crisis for the government.